What up? What's happening?
Man, we back at home.
Well, we're back at home, man.
We snowed in, Bishop.
You're snowed in.
I ain't snowed in. I was just out.
Wait. Do we need to reveal some you were just out?
Yeah.
So we could have been in the studio, what you trying to say?
Hey, Mike is the one. I think Mike wanted to have
Let's
it.
blame this all on Mike. He can't come in. Let's mute Mike. No, for real. It's not great out. It's been snowing all week. Welcome to Religiously Incorrect. As you can see, we are back to our virtual platform for today. I'm in the man cave. Jeff is in the new crib. You know, he's over there hanging out. I got the football game behind me, so if y'all see me turn, you already know what's up. You already know.
Good evening, Elder Carter. How are you?
Pastor Tatum, Rita Cook, good to see you all.
Yes. How y'all doing?
Make sure you like, you share, you tag, you tell the world, spread, evangelize, be a witness to the world that Religiously Incorrect is on in effect. I want to see those numbers pop up. Want to see the likes and the hearts.
Don't hold it to yourself. Don't be greedy. Don't
hide it. Don't hide it under a bushel. Let the Religiously Incorrect light so shine.
Let your light shine.
I didn't ask you to sing it.
Let your light shine.
I didn't ask for this at all. Hey, it's been you know what? We do have to start off on a sobering note. We're not here to be downers, but we do need. We didn't even mention this to Mike, but me and Jeff already talked about it. One of our loyal viewers passed away.
Yes.
One of our loyal viewers passed away on Friday, and she's a member of our church, Sister Janet Whitby, who would often comment, even if she watched the shows later. She would often comment and leave her perspectives and opinions, and she left us Friday, went home to be with the Lord, totally unexpected. And as I said today, and I don't mean to be a downer, but just want to give tribute to her. She ran our food ministry at the church every third Friday of every month, rain, sleet, or snow, didn't matter. And she did that job on Friday. I popped in and said hello and hi to the crew and hi to the volunteers. Then a few hours later, I had a call that she was gone. She did everything she was called to do, went home, and passed away at home. So she served to the very end. She absolutely served to the very end. So our love to the Whitby family, the Bates family. And I just wanted to say that because she is a wonderful member of our church, but she was also a wonderful supporter of this podcast. And we're like family here because this is Sunday night service. This is family. So
Sister Whitby, R.I.P. from R.I.P.
R.I.P. from R.I.P.
R.I.P. from
R.I.P. from R.I.P. But she would love it. She had a great sense of humor. She was the type of person to take life in stride. Her husband is taking things in stride too. Strong fella. But just wanted to throw that out there. Just want to throw that out as love. Again, things like this help lift our spirits. Being able to laugh, being able to be who we are. That's exactly what she would want us to do. So, we still about to be brutal and savage tonight. So, this ain't no funeral, so just letting you, because we don't even have funerals. You know what I'm saying? We have homegoings. Black people just can't have nothing that we don't change. Homegoings, celebrations of life.
Hey, like Martin Luther King. I mean, not Martin Luther King. Martin Lawrence said, "In the upper room."
In the upper room. And here's the crazy thing, because we the only people that will open up a service of a funeral like, everybody praise the Lord, y'all. Let's pray. Everybody, what's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all?
Y'all act like it's a funeral. It is.
Y'all act like somebody died. I mean, the preacher will be like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, what's wrong? Like, my dad is laying right there. What are you talking about? What's wrong with me?
Can we give God some praise for the life and legacy?
Give somebody some praise. That's it. And the white people just be scared as heck. They don't know what's going on. They don't know if it's a trick. They being punked, But anyway, yeah, we can't have nothing, man. But what's happening in the world, Pastor Jeff? I mean, what's going on?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's going on right now is the 80s are dying.
The 80s
might be dead.
The 80s are dead.
The 80s are dead.
Betty White. Meatloaf.
if you don't know Meatloaf, if you don't know Meatloaf, you ain't even old enough to be watching this show.
Yeah, you should be watching this show. You need to tune out and go watch Nickelodeon or something if you don't know. Hey, listen, and here's the funny thing: Black people know Meatloaf but don't know none of his songs, though. We know who he is. We know who he is. Like,
absolutely.
And and all my white friends, they were like quoting the song, like, "Yeah, I remember that one." You know who Meatloaf was? Meatloaf was the dude that when his videos came on MTV, you was mad because you wanted to see somebody else. Like Janet would come on, and then it would be like a Prince video, then Meatloaf, and you change the channel and come back and see.
Well, I liked watching this video because he was out there.
Yeah, he was wild.
He was out there. He was wild. He was crazy. Seemed a little satanic, but
yeah, he's on the satanic side.
But it was back then in the 80s. I was digging it. So
you was into it. Yeah.
Then you go past Tatum. I would do anything for love.
I would do anything for love. Somebody. One of my friends said "Bat Out of Hell" or something like that, like a bat out of hell. I'm like, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Black folk ain't singing about hell, man. We don't sing no songs. We don't sing no songs about coming out of hell. We don't do that.
This is impromptu. This is impromptu. I need to say this. This because I don't know if your son told you, and I need to put this out there.
Maybe you should tell me this offline first.
No, I can't because it's about my son. So
okay.
Y'all please charge this to me because I'm the pastor. So they was all over here. They all spent the night over here.
Right.
I guess they decided to say, if we didn't name Grayson, what other name would we name? Did you hear the story?
No, I didn't hear the story.
So I guess the one kid said this, Elias said this, and Christian decided. Christian said, "Ooh, we should have named him Lucifer." Elias was like, "You mean like the devil?" I said, out of all the names in the world,
this is a child that has not been raised in Sunday night service, listening to old preachers talk about old Slewfoot and how Lucifer. And how Lucifer is the angel of light. He hasn't heard it. We were scared to death of this guy when we were like 7 years old because of how much we heard the name. Lucifer, that's hilarious, man.
Lucifer, that's funny. I just had to throw that in there. But also, other than Meatloaf, Louis Anderson.
I mean, and these were the days where you could be unattractive and still be famous. You could just be a slobby,
Hey, he had some funny stand-up, though.
He did have some funny stuff. Yeah. He had some funny stuff. Bob Saget.
Oh my God.
Bob Saget.
That's Full House, right? Full House.
Now, a lot of people didn't know that Bob Saget, he was a TV dad, and then he was America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yes.
But a lot of people didn't know that he was also a very dirty comedian.
I saw one of his videos. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was my worst.
Yeah, I couldn't even watch it. Yeah, he was worse than Eddie Murphy Raw. He's and the crazy thing is, people would go see his stand up based off of Full House. He just walk in dropping F-bombs and talk about women and sex and all this crazy stuff, and they're like, "What happened to Danny Tanner?"
That is hilarious.
So, I mean, to wrap this up, all we could say is that lets us know time is marching on.
Yes.
The 80s are dead, and we're 80s. We're 80s people. That was it for us. I was a little younger, but we were in the same basic frame. And what was Louis' line? Today I'm washing the lettuce. Next week I'll be on fries.
Yeah.
That's where the big money is. That's where the real money is.
That's where the real money is.
and coming to America. So Rip, Betty White. We already gave our props to Sidney Poitier. He doesn't count as the 80s, but the 80s people, man. It's just, and you know what? It's going to be more. Norm Macdonald. We already talked about him a few months ago. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. So, if you are, mourning the 80s, get ready because you're about to be mourning the 90s pretty soon. So You know, they already took DMX.
I don't even read the obituaries no more. You get scared.
They already took DMX from us. So yeah, we just let it go. So hey, y'all, I know you know what time it is. I know what time it is. Jeff knows what time it is. It's time for the meme of the week.
Meme of the week.
We're not going. We're right there. Cause it's meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
We are. These are all jokes. We are just playing.
When the pastor tells you to bring your problems to the altar. What is that? A whole engine?
A whole engine.
You know what? I saw one when a guy was carrying his wife.
Now that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. You know, Pastor Todd, and this is a meme of the week, but you know, I think us as pastors have to say, when we say bring your problems to the altar, we do mean the altar, not us.
Listen, Jeff.
Because they want to bypass the altar and come to our office.
It's not the pulpit. You don't bring it to the pulpit. Nah, Doc. This pulpit is for the Bible, not for your problem. The sacred desk is for the word, not your worries.
I mean, we just had a 20-minute altar call. I done laid my hands on you. You fell on the floor, snotted, crying. You got up, you gave a praise report, and as soon as church is over, you are at my office. I'm like,
and they want to tell you about it for 2 hours. For 2 hours, yeah.
When that happened?
Absolutely. They didn't get delivered. They laid it down and picked it right back up again. But you know, that is how it is, man. When they say bring it, I mean, and here's the thing. Then there's that one that really does bring all. There's always that one. There's that one sincere, whether it's a new believer or whatever, or somebody who just walked off the street, whatever. And the crazy thing is, the rest of us that's used to playing with it, we don't know what to do with that one. That's for real, for real, for real. Everybody else like, it's prayer time. Pray for my cousin. He got diabetes. You know what I mean? Whatever, which is fine. We all need prayer. But then that one be like, man, this is my sex life. I'm on drugs.
It's that one, you know, when SpongeBob say, and 10 years later.
10 years later.
10 years later, they're still at the altar.
Still at the altar.
You know, you try to move on with the service. You like, glory to God. Hey man, let's you know, and you pointing for the ushers to come get this one person, but they seriously trying to leave it there.
Listen, this is why I'm Baptist, man. We had that bed in the back. We got that bed back in the nurse's room. We still got that gurney.
It's the gurney.
They got that gurney with the smelling salts. Listen, I was looking for some cough drops and I found some smelling salts. I'm like, what kind of church is this? What kind of church am I in? And you know who it used to be? It used to be my grandma. All right, let's get if you have a meme of the week, you can send it to religiouslyincorrectpodcast@gmail.com, or you can inbox the meme to our Instagram page, Religiously Incorrect Podcast, Facebook, wherever you see us. If you have one you'd like to share, we're not guaranteeing it's going to get on the air. If we don't laugh, we don't think nobody else is going to laugh. So I'm just being honest with you. But thank you for laughing with us a little bit. Hey, make sure you like and share and tag as we get ready to introduce our guests right after we acknowledge our sponsors, who are the Phillips Care family of businesses, beginning with Phillips Care Cleaning Services, residential, commercial. They do it all. If it has to do with your house, they can do it. If it has to do with a building with a roof and a floor, they can do it. Call my man Fernando at 330-219-7916, or check out Phillips Care LLC on Facebook. And while you're at it, you know you need your snow plowed, and you know you're going to need your grass cut in a few months. Check out Phillips Care Lawn Services. They can get you right, driveways, parking lots, and when things begin to clear up, grass cutting, leaf removal, trees, brush, all that stuff. And the reason I know it is because they've done it for me. Matter of fact, I got a phone call I need to make when we get off of here. Call them 330-219-7916. Check them out online and make sure you support those companies that support us here at Religiously Incorrect. Jeff, I'd like you to introduce the world to our guests, introduce the Sunday night service crowd to our guests tonight.
We are excited. We are overly excited to have my girl, my friend, such as it is. She is actually my wife's family. She is an author. She has
my condolences. She has my condolences.
she is a pastor. She is an evangelist. She is a preaching machine. She is a diva in her own right. If you catch her outside, you know she is going to be dressed to the T from head to toe. You know, this is our girl, Pastor Carla Robinson. Come on, give us
it up. Give it up.
She done it. God bless you.
She got it down, Pat. She was sitting like this off stage, like this.
Hallelujah. I the Lord over this podcast.
How are you doing, Pastor Carla? How are you?
Hello there, Pastor Todd. I am blessed.
Amen. Amen.
And glad to be here tonight on your show.
We are so grateful to have you. Why don't you go ahead and do us a favor and start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself. You don't have to give us the whole, your whole bio, but
really
just
the Anne Frank diaries. You know, we don't need that.
Just give us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been pastoring, who you're married to, all that stuff. Just give us a quick bio.
Yes, okay. I'm Pastor Carla Robinson, affectionately known as Carla J. I am married to Elder Glenn Robinson. I am also an author. I am a life coach and mentor. Been in the ministry for a very long time, since 1989. Wow. Most of the time, me and my husband, we have done outreach. So we just thank the Lord how he has blessed us to touch many lives and how he's branching us off into new areas of ministry.
All right, wonderful. Well, let me start off, and I know Todd got some things, but I just want to ask you first of all, because I'm really not sure. So I'm asking this out of my own concern. What exactly is a life coach?
A life coach is a counselor, actually, but you're not you can't use the term counselor because you don't have a degree for it. But a life coach leads you to the answer that most of the time you already have. And go ahead.
So a life coach is actually Dr. Pibb, Mr. Pibb, and not Dr. Pepper. Is that what it is?
Let me repeat that. A life coach.
Repeat it, mother. Repeat it.
A life coach leads you to the answer that normally you already have. So we don't say that we're counselors, but you actually are counseling.
Okay.
And you know, when I say life coach, after you go through your sessions, I'll still be your life coach.
Good.
A life coach tells you the truth, helps you to face the truth.
Wow.
Good. Wonderful.
Do you make people, like, if they're not facing the truth, they have to drop down and give you 20 truths or something, or make them laugh? What is the threat here? I mean, you know, coaches are threatening, intimidating people. So what you got? You got a whistle? I mean, what are you working with?
No, I work with loving kindness.
Okay.
And if I feel that I need to get a little stern with you, I will.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
You know, but most of the time I allow my client to, you know, pour out, because they paid to pour out to you. So you give them that space to really talk. And a lot of times when you're listening to them, they do already have the answer, you know. Yeah. So
that sounds like a slogan. You pay to pour out.
Woo! Yeah, you
paid to pour out. They be like, what do you think? They like, what do you think about it, Carla? You paid to pour out. You're pouring.
And the more you pay, the more you pour.
The more you can pour.
Okay, so real quickly, you are members of Lord, I can't think of the name of the church now.
You're Center, Jeff.
Victory.
That's Victory Christian Center, Liberty.
And we want to, you know, first of all, send our condolences on the loss of a loving friend. We talked about him when everything happened. So we know how hard it was for all of you, well, for all of us, but especially for those of you who set up under his teaching for those years that you did. So we're grateful for him. Just let's talk about the book for a minute.
Okay. The book is called When Love is Forgotten. When Love is Forgotten. This book is based on relationship. It can help your marriage, and it also can help you in your single life. And I deal with a lot of different issues, different things like overcoming baggage. You know, a lot of times we bring baggage into our relationships. And I do want to say that children are not baggage. And some people do, you know, if you have children, you know, before that relationship, children are not baggage, they're blessings. And so I deal with a lot of different issues, and I even share some of my own personal emotional issues in the book, because a lot of times we bury our emotions, we put things aside, and when we meet that person we feel that we want to spend our life with, we tend to try to, you know, everybody put their best foot forward, and or you should at least, you know. And so sometimes they learn who you are later on down the line. Sometimes we hide things, and there's hurts and pains that we've never dealt with, and we come into new relationships, and where you've been hurt somewhere, you know, in the past, this person is probably going to have to deal with what you went through with another person or another phase in your life. So I deal, the point of the book is for us to be honest with ourselves and God. So because we don't want to be stuck, we want to move from, you know, areas that we are stuck in.
Right. I love it. I love it. And it's so needed in this day and age. And I think that there is so much in the way of advice, and just everybody has an opinion and a perspective. Everybody has a platform with social media. And some of the stuff I read, and sometimes it's like broken people giving advice to broken people. It's just like, where y'all get this stuff from? You know, where do you know, but it is based off toxic relationships, people who are carrying these things. Now, I know kids aren't baggage, but what if they're bad kids? I mean, what if they jumping on couches, you know, stealing cars?
Before you even answer what because I want to back because you said that. Now we need to talk about that for just a second, because unfortunately I didn't get a chance to read your book, but I definitely want to read it just based upon that first comment that you made. Children aren't baggage and they're not burdens, but a lot of times children can come into relationships broken. They might not be baggage, they might not be burdened, but a lot of them are broken because of the last relationship, because their father wasn't in a picture or isn't in a picture, or their mother isn't in a picture. So they're broken, and they bring their brokenness in. And their brokenness
can break stuff up.
Can break stuff. It can cause damage in the new relationship because they don't want to give you the respect. They don't want to give you the, you know, whatever it is. So can you talk to them?
Yes, and I do talk about that in the family chapter, because you know, they there's more blended families now. Most of us are in a blended family, and sometimes a blended family tends to be, you know, just a little tougher than you know, you can go through things, of course, in biological families as well, but sometimes the children and sometimes the parents are just not ready to, you know, to bond and blend with, you know, someone that's not of their bloodline. And so back to when I say children, I don't believe that we should look at, you know, pre-children as baggage, because just like they can have baggage, but I don't think that if I okay, I'm a stepmother. I never, when I met my husband, I never said to myself, well, he has baggage, because that's a human being and somebody that's attached to him that he loves very dearly. And children can go through things. And I think a lot of times, certain situations can merit counseling, but most of the time we seem to shy away from counseling. And sometimes the whole family needs to be in counseling.
Amen.
Right. I agree 100%. And, you know, when you talk about what is baggage, you know, it could be disappointments, it could be
emotional
issues, emotional issues, trust issues. And, you know, pastors, obviously, we're asked to counsel people or people ask for counseling, and you said a very key thing. Everybody always brings the nice face and the nice image. And honestly, in most marriage counseling, there there's not even the opportunity, if you think about it honestly, for many of us to really dig as deep as we need to go. Because honestly, by the time we're approached, they got a date set. They didn't already spend all their money. They want you to get your 3 or 4 sessions in.
Right.
And we encounter some stuff. We do tackle it with what we're given. But
Yes.
I often refer individuals that you are going to need to do more work. You're going to need to really encounter, and don't come into my office with all the right answers because you want to tell me what I want to hear. And sometimes, we have to ask the questions, as you said earlier about being a life coach, that make them look funny at each other, that make them give them each other that look. And now you're like, oh, now we can be real. Now
Right.
we can dig into something. And what have you noticed are some of the biggest barriers for people to get to that place of realness and openness? What are some of the biggest barriers you see that kind of stop people from really pouring out? And then, once they do cross that line.
What I find is that when you counsel people, one thing I learned is that they're only going to tell you what they want you to know. And normally, if there's any fault, anything wrong or fault, the person is going to try to make their self look like, they are the one that's clean and doing well. And then they'll try to undress the other person, as if that's the one with the issues when they both have them. And most of the time, and I've even said this to a young lady that came to me about her husband. And I told her, and I offended her, but it wasn't, I didn't mean to. I told her, I said, well, most of the time when people come, I said, they only tell me, you're only going to tell me what you want me to know, because she was pouring out all of his faults, but not. And normally, if we be honest, both parties had a part in some of the things that have gone wrong. Not always, but you could have a part in it as well. Just like if my husband and I, and we're engaging in an argument, more than likely both of us, like they say, take two to tango. Both of us are at fault in some way.
What do you do in the case? Because it can be very sensitive, and we'll get off of the couples thing because that's not always going to be the focus. Sometimes it's an individual thing. But what do you do when that's not the case? And it's quite clear that one person is more of the antagonist or the problem or the person with the weakness or the because one thing I've run into is that sometimes it's not he's like this, but she's like this. Sometimes one person doesn't mean they're toxic, doesn't mean that they're abusive, but perhaps they're the ones bringing the weight of the negative elements kind of into the relationship. How do you deal with that? Because honestly, when you say that there's a part on both sides, that helps balance it. But sometimes it's not balanced, and that can become a very offensive, you're ganging up on me. You took her side or his side. How do you deal with that in that sensitive moment?
Well, it's really hard. It really is, because there's been times when I had to tell, and if I could keep it real, it's normally the female. And it is true, and even to the point where I've dealt with some that had abusive, it was abuse, and they love the person. It's not their intentions that they even want to leave, but with me trying to, protect them, I try to lead them to think realistically, like, where is this going down the line? Okay, so this is how he is. He's not willing to change. So let's go to the beginning. Should you be with this person?
Right.
So if you stay, what will the results be if you stay? But I'm not going. I don't go in, badgering and saying, being harsh, because you got to realize they love that person, or they think they do, or that's love to them. So you just want to try to, once again, leading them to the answer, trying to show them. And most of the time they will come to the answer. Now, it's not always. I've coached people that went and jumped in, even though they saw all the signs. I've shown them, I've led them to it, and they'll still go in for the disaster. So when they come back, you love them, you try to help them to lick their wounds, give them, scriptures, love, and let them know, because, we all make mistakes. And,
Right.
and most of us have brought somebody into our lives, I'm speaking, if I can go here, the dating season, what have you, that we probably shouldn't have.
Love it.
Amen. Oftentimes I like to call people, one of the worst employment or jobs you can have, to me, is a storm chaser. Those people who chase stuff that's designed to kill them. And I think so often we have that in relationships. But what do you do? What do you do when it is the woman? Because a lot of women, let's just be honest, are nagging. A lot of women have, bad attitudes, and they come in with bad attitudes. And I'm not talking about women at all, but I'm just saying this is a reality. And as a woman talking to another woman, how do you flip that emotional switch off? Because there are some women who are very emotional, and they tend to let their emotions run the relationship.
Right. Well, I can speak for myself. I've been there. And through you and it starts with making a decision to want to change, because men, they seem to hang out in logic, women hang out in emotions. And it's so real to us. It's been times when I was in an emotional thing, and I would go to my husband, and it made so much sense to me, and I almost thought God was saying it. And he would say, "What are you talking about?" And but women, what I teach women now, and there is a part in there for women, especially hitting into menopause, because after you've been together for a while, we do change. That's not that same person that you married, but with females, it's important that we start monitoring our emotions. And most females, we don't want to do that. Your emotions can tear up a church or a home or a school or the mall. But
the ring, the bar.
Yes. But it's important, and it took me years to really learn this. How important it is, because it is so normal to we just instantly go there, and we think we feel like and I'm speaking of when I say this, I'm just speaking of a relationship, just normal trials, but the overall picture is harmony. But you still, this is a good person, but you still, the female struggling with her emotions, that I do know, I understand now that could be hard on a guy. But I just begin to I went in prayer about it, excuse me for going spiritual, but I had to go to God about that, because he is our help. And so because I put the time in, I believe that I can help females to let them know you really do have to monitor your emotions, especially, even certain times of the month. You're sometimes you're out of kilter, and it seems like everybody's wrong but you.
That. I'm recording this. Where's my wife at?
Can I get religiously incorrect here for just a few seconds?
Sure,
go ahead and get there.
Religiously incorrect. We are all pastors here on this panel, and as pastors, we do weddings, and we love to use that word submit, but that has become a bad word, and it has become a vicious word in religious circles. Is there a section in that book on submission, and what do you say, or what do you speak of when you use that word? Look at your wife.
I'm about to be on the couch. I'm gonna be in this basement all night long. This is gonna be the longest podcast ever. Yeah, what is submission in the 21st century? What does that look like with everything switched? That's a great question, Jeff.
Now, am I answering that?
Yeah, yes. Go ahead.
Okay, because I think he asked me a question. Is it in the book? Okay, I'll start there. There is a section in the book. Get the book, but there's a section in the book that I deal with it. I deal with Abraham and Sarah. Now, women don't want to hear this, and I know that because I didn't. You have no idea how hard that is when you read it in the scripture, and it is saying that is, I don't believe it's saying that you don't have a voice in it. I believe that because I believe that he's speaking to the people of God. So as your husband is following and obeying the Lord, you should follow that, because that is your covering. So I use the scripture that Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. And then the Apostle Paul went on to say that you're Sarah's daughters. If you're not afraid with any amazement, meaning that if you're with a Christian man, but you don't even trust his judgment, and that God is even speaking to him. And then if I can go here, when you've been like hurt or cheated on, and you haven't dealt with that, and it does need to be dealt with, because you can tell yourself, well, I'm still beautiful, I'm still the bomb. Okay, well, what made this guy cheat on me? What made him want to tear down my self-esteem? So that phase is over. Now you're with a guy that's, up and up, something serious. And then, but your self-esteem have taken a hit. So, it still goes back to, so you become afraid to submit. You become afraid because you feel like, and my mindset, it was always, if I submit, I'm going to be taken advantage of. And it took me years. I'll say years. I have 21 years under my belt now as a wife. And it was, and then God he calls me, listen to what you're saying within yourself. If I submit, I'm going to be taken advantage of. Well, who took advantage of you in the past? Who hurt you in the past? And so I had to go back and do some digging and see where I was with that, because you have an awesome man here. And so I'll say this, because it's real and raw, this show, right?
Yes.
So to me, it'll take all marriage long to, first of all, learn to submit and to continue to practice that. You have to. This does not come overnight. You're not going to lay down a blunder and wake up a wonder. Okay, you're not gonna, yes, beauty on the outside that attracts you, but I understand. I have a much more greater understanding what a husband is looking for in a wife. And as TD Jakes says, find out what Delilah did to get his head in her lap. So
yeah,
here, cut off his hair. But, as time go along, you have to make a decision. Okay, what you went through in the past, that's not this, because the enemy will tell you that it's the same thing, and it's not. But because there's brokenness on the inside that you don't want to deal with, or you want to bury. So this man or this woman, they can't get the best out of you, because you are operating from the past hurts. And then because we have to, my husband in areas, he submits to me, and I submit to him. We are growing in this thing together. It's not about, him just throwing around his weight, and everything he say, I jump to it. We both have a voice in it. And even with a decision recently, once again, emotions flying off. And I was, saying, this is what I'm going to do. I got the Lord checked me, and I came back. I said, it's what you want to do, because you have a voice as well. So we have to understand, even if you have an easygoing person, God is watching us. And I say that in the book, because we are all responsible for our actions.
Wow.
So yes.
Even and something I'm wrestling with, and I know Pastor Jeff and probably every other pastor in this 21st century, especially those of us who care to try to reach beyond the core, if you would, of people. We all have a core audience. We know the church folk, the saints, the seekers, that core group, where they got some folk kind of on the edge. But how do you apply principles, whether it's relational or individual wholeness? Have you saw the need? Because I can personally say I have seen the need to find ways to take these principles and know that I'm going to be sharing these with people who might not be ready and still on their way on a journey of spirituality with Jesus. But these principles could still be a help to their life. So I'm not trying to punch you in the face with say the sinner's prayer with me, or ain't none of this going to work. Actually, some of these are just basic principles. I often preach that a good man is a good man.
Right.
I believe that the best man is a saved man, and that can really follow God. But a good man that is taking care of his family, I don't think we should belittle that man, that doesn't go to church. Maybe he's not a holy roller or a Christian, but he feeds his family. He's taking care of his children. He's faithful to his wife. He works a job, all the things that we are, and is truly loving, truly, loving. And he does need that faith. We, of course, want that. But have you found yourself sharing principles with people who are outside of Christian faith, but they can benefit from finding wholeness, even in starting to attract, knowing hopefully it will draw them into relationship with Jesus?
Yes, actually, Pastor Todd, I do find that that's a little scary for me, because I'm the type of person when I'm go in, like I'm all in to try to pull somebody out and rescue them, and it kind, if I'm not careful, it kind of makes me feel like a failure, like what I have is not working, for somebody who really, really needs it. But this is a human being, with human needs. And one thing you said, a good man is a good man. Now, unfortunately, when I met my husband, he was already with the Lord and in ministry. But people that knew him from the past, when he wasn't saved, was still telling me, "Oh yes, I know him. He's always been a good guy." So that is so true. So we can't really, and more than one person told me, they said this book is not just for Christians. They said this book is for anybody and everybody, and people that are not Christians can hear something in this book and decide. And that blessed me. But when I've dealt with that, because I've had people come back later and say, what you said was right, but at the time I wasn't ready to accept it. Sometimes, even as Christians, if we keep it real, sometimes we're not ready to accept, some truth, especially if it's hitting us in an area where we need to change or move up. Because as long as we are on this earth, that's why he called us little children. Because as long as we are on this earth and in this body, we should strive to be better. And we are always going to have areas that we can be better if we choose to do it.
Right.
Amen.
Right.
And then on the flip side, Pastor Carla, if we would be honest, there are a lot of men in the Bible or in the church who really, they put on this good front and they put on this good facade. And the truth of the matter is, it's a whole lot of people who aren't saved. They just found a great hiding place. And they found that great hiding place inside of the church. And so, you have men inside of the church who are, using women, who are abusing women, who are, literally out of all, concordance with the what the word is saying. So how do you deal with that? Because I know you have us as pastors, all of us. I can't speak for you because I don't know how many people you've had to coach, but you've come in contact with people who are supposed to be good Christian men and good Christian women. How are you abusing your wife? How are you putting your hands on her as a Christian? How are you robbing her blind of her whole 401k? You're supposed to be a Christian. How do you deal with that kind of stuff at all?
I haven't dealt with it a lot, but I do know of some cases where people are in ministry, and I knew that they were cheating on their spouse, but they're yet preaching the word. And I do believe in my heart of hearts that I am one person in this season that God gave this assignment to expose some things, to let people know, because you can harden in rebellion, and the preacher man is going to always be on you, but it doesn't mean you're living right. It doesn't mean that you are serving God. And there are people that can, that's why I believe the Apostle Paul said, I busted my body, I bring my body under, lest by my preachings others are saved, and I myself be a counterfeit or a castaway. So, those are just people. I believe that, you can fully operate in the ministry and in the gift and have nothing going on at home or in relationships, and even in relationship with your loved ones, because you've made a decision to be selfish and to do it all your way and no fear for God whatsoever. I haven't ran across that in my counseling. I haven't ran across it a lot, but I have dealt with few that actually was being physically abused at home, and they were in ministry.
Mm.
So and I do find that the man, he doesn't want to come to the counseling. It's more so I do encourage the female, well, you come, you come, and we'll talk about it, and see, things can be done better, and then we can pray, and I'll continue to pray for you. I'll do, in some situations you just have to do the very best you can and leave the rest up to God.
I'm glad you said that. And, I want to talk from a perspective, like you said, you've been doing this for some years and developing and growing in ministry and in marriage. What have you seen as changes in the dynamics between men and women? I'd say over the past, 25 to 30 years or so. One thing I hear from a lot of men is twofold, I would say. Number one, we all know it's a good thing that women aren't dominated in the same way they were in perhaps our grandparents' generation, just sit down, shut up, take this abuse. But many men feel like it's flipped too far to the side, and women are using the emotional, the counseling, the my feelings, like almost as a weapon now. They can weaponize that and maybe accuse others, and it doesn't have to be a significant other. It can be in church, it could be in a workplace, it could be with friendships. Like sometimes there's an overemphasis on mental and emotional abuse and misbehavior, to like, hey, I know if I say this, I can become a victim. I know if I, some women are the ones saying, I'm not going to go to counseling, I'm not going to face myself. Or they could just use, and a lot of men feel like it's a woman's world now, and they don't really have a place or a say in it in a lot of ways. And we all know that's kept a lot of men out of church. We all know that's kept a lot of men out of church. But I don't think people have grasped how much, because women dominate social media, quite frankly. Even though I'm not saying it's not still a man's world, I'm saying that the narratives and the words being drawn. Do you see that? Are you seeing changing dynamics between men and women as far as the voices and what becomes the dominating narrative in certain instances?
Yeah, I even think that now, if I'm understanding you, I've ran across some that, we found that we can get an education, we can hold our own, we can do this, that, and the other. And I think that some women don't even want to be married now, because they tell themselves, what do I need a man for? But if you read up, I hope it's okay that I'm using scripture, but
yeah,
I said, who can find a virtuous woman? And this woman that God is speaking of, she's the bomb. She's industrious and all that, and she has it going on as it relates to how she handles her mate, or how she handles her position as a female. So if it was a time where if it ever came, and it has not so far, that I was making more money than my spouse and what have you, that doesn't excuse me to disrespect him, or whenever he challenges me on my wrong ways, for me to play the victim, because because I feel but some women actually, and that is scary to me, to think God has allowed us to advance and do great things as females, and then we kick out the whole use of the male, or become so disrespectful till we take the order of God away. I hope I'm not making any women mad. I have been.
I hope you are.
But I've been because we want our life to flow, and we want the favor of God on our life. Right. We can't in times when if we could keep it real here, sometimes females we know just how to manipulate our man, and we know what'll get him moving, or it was times when I could even time it. If my husband needed to say no about something, he's coming back to he's gonna say, okay, go ahead. Okay, sure enough, but he got my number now. He doesn't come back when he says no. This is what's best. It is no. But it was almost in a sense he had spoiled me. But as we got older in our marriage and everything, but I would time it, and I would say, okay, he's gonna change it. He'll say, no, Carly, that's, and then okay, yeah, you can go ahead. So with him growing, even in his authority, okay, and my husband is a very strong man, okay, he's a very manly man, but he's a tender guy, but he's strong. So when he puts his foot down, I know that is a word, but he did give me a period of, okay, I'm going to cater. But that, in a sense, that's dangerous. That is dangerous if as females, even in the time in which we're living, the modern times where you have females that's doing the same jobs as a man, you buy your own house, this, that, and the other. And I even had one female to tell me, she said that, where she is in the corporate ladder, she said, men don't even want to come her way. And she really found it very hard to meet the ideal person. So I don't think that women should use this as a manipulating tool or to play the victim, because doors have come open and you can kind of have your way. And I even through, because I don't mind telling on myself, even the Lord even told me at times, all you did was manipulate it to get your way. Because God knows when you really want to be right in your heart, he's going to deal with you. And that's not cute and that's not funny.
That's true.
Because you going on the road of perdition with a smile on your face. So, okay, go ahead now.
I'm glad you said that. And I'm not saying that it's not a relationship, but the comments I see sometimes in our culture where there's almost like a snap. Like, you understand? I mean, this is not waiting to exhale. This is not the movies. This is real life. Number one, you have to answer spiritually for the decisions you're making, whether you are, and I'm thankful for the comments, men are manipulating, women are manipulating, men are using the, I'm the provider, I'll pull the money back, I'll do this, I'll do that, women are doing this. And sometimes it is, I've watched, of course, people take their business public and they're getting the world's opinions about things. And what does everybody else think? And like you said, they're smiling and happy, and it's become a joke. And I think even the movies that, everything's so chaotic and scandalous, but it's a joke, and we understand that's entertainment. We've been watching grandma's soap operas for years, but unfortunately we've been seeing brokenness out of people living this stuff out in real life, and people trying to convince themselves that they're happy. But I think the only thing is it's gotten goofier and more common that it's a joke. I mean, somebody's marriage falling apart, you'll see Tyler Perry jokes on their page, and saints. We ain't talking about sinners all the time. We talking about
the church.
I can do that all by myself. What about them children? What about covenant? What about So I'm glad you said that about it's not a joke. It's not, because and I think that's a coping mechanism. I come from a family that laughs when things get tense. We try to laugh it. And we're like, nah, I really want to choke you, like my siblings and my dad. I really want to take you out back and fight. But and I think we do that a lot. And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm really glad.
Pastor Carla, it is said that a pastor can actually file for divorce based upon himself cheating and retain 70% of his membership. Retain 70% of his membership.
That is true.
We live in a society now, and I know Pastor Todd has a lot of strong opinions on this, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but where we can watch a guy spit on another guy, spit on his hands, even though it's his brother, touch him, and we all jump to defending these people. There seems to be a space, or we live in an age and society where grace is so overwhelmingly used that, people have often said, and I've heard it said so many times, God hasn't released me from this ministry yet. Well, does God have to release you? I mean, does God need to tell you when your house is on fire, you need to get out? Does God actually have to leave heaven and come down and say, listen, your house is on fire, every room is burning but the one you in, there's a door right there, leave? What I'm saying? Are we so caught on grace that we give everybody grace? and we have we don't hold anybody accountable, anybody accountable for what they do, and we just stick and stay because of it. Maybe it's what we're used to. What's going on in the world right now?
Now, are you saying that the pastor himself is off track? And what are you asking?
I'm asking about just in general. We'll stick and stay, whether it be with a husband,
I
see what with a church, whether it be with a job where things are going wrong, but we have so much grace for the person doing the wrong that we will not leave.
Right. We won't separate.
Yeah. Grace has its place, but reality has to kick in as well.
Absolutely.
And I do deal with. I'll just use this. If you are in a relationship and physical harm is being done, okay, you need to be safe. Okay, okay. So if you are under a leader that's robbing, God gives us common sense, and I think sometimes it's up to the individual. Like, where are you? Mentally, spiritually, or are you bound by fear? Or we're creatures of habit. Or are you afraid to make a change? Yeah. I do believe there's some instances, even with a couple, that sometimes it needs to be severed if somebody's in danger. I don't ever tell anybody to leave or what have you, because you have to be careful with that, because most of the time, if they're telling you, it's not because they really want to leave. They'll listen to what you say, but it boils down to someone making a decision. So, to what you said, and even on a broader, perspective, as you said, but it takes the individual making a decision. Yeah. Like myself, I stayed on a job, and it was terrible. But I was trying to be strong. I stayed. I liked being in the medical field. But the day came when I had to call the quits on that job because my health was starting to be attacked.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, it sometime, and even even if it's a girlfriend that I have, and we're the best of friends, but if you are being abusive towards me in conversation or what have you in any way, I'm going to step back. I love you and I have grace for you, but common sense is going to kick in and let me know there needs to be a change. My love won't change, but my position will.
Okay.
I love that. Yeah. So if I'm with a leader, what have you, I say that because you spoke that. If I'm under a leader and I see that, because Paul said, "Follow me as I follow Christ." So through here, I'll give you some time, but I have a one soul that I have to stand it before God. So this it boils down. This is an individual thing as well. So, if it's something that you need to come away from, we should always have grace, but not to the point of, losing yourself or, setting yourself in danger or causing yourself to get in a place where it's hard to make a comeback.
That's wisdom. That's wisdom. And I appreciate you answering that so comprehensively. I think a lot of people have found themselves stuck, and unable to pull the lever. And you got one camp of people that will jump here, there, everywhere. It could be relationships, church. I joked with my church. You all know I'm in an older traditional church. And as I was coming into the church, people were joining left and right, but not sticking. And the people were like, "Oh man, something's wrong with us," or something. I said, no. I live in a transient generation. People will join churches like you go to the movies and go to college, relocate and come back home, be in and out of relationships. 3 and 4 folk they got on their profile pictures on Facebook in 2 years. And everybody, kids. And we have to cope with making real decisions and taking these areas of life seriously when we're entering into them, seriously when we are in it, and also seriously when it's time to separate from it.
Right.
And not take any of that lightly. I wanted to just turn gears as we kind of wrap up here. And we heard the other this weekend, as a matter of fact, tragic news. One of our beautiful sisters, Regina King, found out that her son committed suicide. His name was Ian Jr., and her only son committed suicide, only 26 years old. And I want to just unpack this because I know you're a life coach, and you do have that spiritual ministry of I believe restoration and ministry to people who are hurting. Is one friend of mine put up a post that was very meaningful. I can only paraphrase it in 3 seconds. And she said, sometimes you really did do all you could. Sometimes, whether it goes as far as a person who takes their life or somebody who continues in toxic relationship behaviors, or somebody who just continues down the wrong path and won't face themselves. Have you faced that time where you had to sit back and allow God to tell you you did what you could?
Yes, I did. I walked through an individual who, was making just a lot of wrong choices. And basically, it wasn't that they were ignorant of what they were doing, it was what they decided. And so when you are a life coach, you still have to be careful. I heard a saying, it was saying, when helping you is hurting me. I kind of, so you can try to snatch them out and do what have you, but it does come to a point when this person have decided that the help that you are giving me, you're extending it to me, like you're drowning and I'm reaching to try to pull you out, and you decide to drown. So you have to be very careful that you don't allow yourself, of which I have done, to feel like I'm a failure. I believe I had what God gave me to help this person. Well, what happened? What happened? What did I do? And checking myself. Did I say anything that, maybe I said something that didn't represent God? What was it that caused me to lose this person? Because I did. And so even I let some time go by, and I went back again to try to reach out again. Okay. And this has, now that I'm thinking of it, it has happened more than one time, but we all have to realize that that person's will is involved.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said, whosoever will. And sometimes, when they have a stubborn will, they will all, they can see that they're on edge, and every decision is bringing you grief and hardship, but they are in that mode, and they just somehow, some of them just decided that I'm not going to pull out. And even when I'm given keys, really, some of the keys I've given, this is what I've lived. I know this work. I've seen it work. And, it's like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not.
Can I plug in and add to that so that you can talk on, just add, I really want you to talk on this, Jeff, if it's okay.
Go ahead.
Because I've run into some situations where a person did have to make that decision, or I had to make that decision, or whatever. And goes back to what Jeff was talking about that ideal of grace going too far, and the expectation of what the theologians call hyper grace, where when that person who has made the decisions, that person who has the stubborn will, they've learned the lingo, and they're telling that mom, that dad, that counselor, that pastor, whoever, well, you're just not patient enough, and you're giving up on me. And or even, here's the worst part, somebody else steps in and says, well, they didn't help you enough, or they didn't have enough grace for you, or they didn't have enough patience with you. And I've ministered to parents like, yeah, but I see the depression on your life. I see the destructiveness coming. How do people help find the cutoff? Because there's going to be guilt, and maybe even comments, even public opinion turned against them because you abandon that grown child, or you let that cousin go, or you let that member go. And somebody somewhere, not just the person, but even other people think you haven't done enough.
Yeah. Well, Pastor Todd, I believe in every situation, even doing your level best to help someone, it's important to set boundaries. A lot of times we don't set boundaries, and we teach normally when a person is, they're out of kilter somewhere, there's an issue, there's an underlying issue here. but if we teach people how to treat us, even as counselors. If this person know that I was counseling, and so I set the sessions up. Okay, I set the sessions up for certain times and certain days. So, you don't get to call me just or hit me up with a text and say, "Hey, are you available to talk?" No, I'm a coach. You need to stay in line with the sessions, okay? Because I have a life outside of me coaching you. So I learned the hard way about mentoring and coaching people. You have to set boundaries, and I believe in even as a pastor, because I've even had people to come at me for money, and later found out that there was some type of addiction there. And so then I don't want to be an enabler to help for you to help you self-destruct. So as counselors and spiritual guiders and leaders, we have to set boundaries, and we have to understand you have to know who you are, first of all, and what your assignment is. Okay. You have to have the wisdom. When is the cutoff period for this person? So they can't suck you dry, suck your spiritual breast dry, because they will. And it's not that they want you for then, what can I get out of you? What favors can I get? So I'm coming like I need help, but I really want money or favors, or, you to do this, that, and the other for me. And it took me a while to learn that, because my heart is, I'm saving the world for Christ. I'm saving the world for Christ. Okay. But in compassion, you have to use wisdom.
Amen.
Because Jesus did.
Just to add on to what Pastor Todd said, as well as what you said, as a spiritual person, as an evangelist, for most of my life, evangelist first, pastor second, I used to say, and I used to believe it to my heart, that there were no lost causes. There just weren't enough long-suffering Christians. But when you come to the fact that you understand that Jesus only had 12 and he lost one, there comes a time that, even us being as spiritual as we are, there are some people who needs more help than our Bible. There are some people who actually needs mental. They need to see an actual physical doctor. And us trying to get them to the altar like the meme of the week to lay down all their burdens when they need medication for their issue.
Right.
We're actually hindering more than we are helping.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's my little 2 cents to add on to it.
Yes. I even had a individual that I was trying to walk with, and they had really a lot of issues, and they ultimately committed suicide. So it wasn't, and I think that I had to conclude with that, perhaps this wasn't my assignment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that there is value to what we have been called to do in their lives. We're not guaranteed to see the result we anticipated.
Right.
There was value to our interactions. There was value to, what God had our portion of their life to be. And again, as you said, each individual has their own will. And this has been a rich conversation. So much. Put that book up one more time. I want all of our religiously incorrect viewers, those who follow us, put that up real quick. When Love is Lost.
Forgotten.
Love is Forgotten. I'm sorry. When Love is Forgotten by Carla Robinson. There it is. And where can we get the book? Where can individuals buy it?
You can buy this book on GC4 Enterprises. Also, I'm on BookWire. And you can also go to my virtual ministry, Speaking a Word in Due Season. I always have the link on there.
It's right up on the page. If you're looking at the podcast right now, GC, the number 4, enterprises.com.
Enterprises.com.
It's on there right now. For those of you who are watching, or especially my Facebook people, you know how to get a hold or send a request to Carla Robinson's Facebook page. I'm sure she'll point you in the right direction and make sure you get the materials in your hands. We want to bring in Big Mike before we close out, our producer, and we know you all have great relationship. Come on, Big Mike, and give us your commentary. What's happening?
Hey, Miss Carla, this is my big sis right here. Me and Carla go way back. We went to church together a while ago, and she was always my big sister. Always looked out for me. Always looked out for her. And can you hear me? Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Sis, I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Writing the book, doing everything you do, ministering. I'm really proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless you. Can you guys hear
Wonderful.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Carla
Okay,
must.
I couldn't hear it. I didn't hear you.
Oh,
I
he
don't
was
know why
saying,
you couldn't hear
you
me.
know what? For some reason, sometimes one of us is not able to be heard, but you can hear me.
I can hear you, Pastor Todd.
Okay. He was just thanking you for coming on and speaking of his respect and love for you and
Okay.
encouraging you in the book. So we've had that instance before for some reason, but I just wanted
Okay.
you to know what he
Okay. Yeah, that's my brother.
yeah,
Long
yeah.
time, yes, my favorite brother, my FB.
I love it. Love it.
Love him
Love
so
it.
much.
Hey, Pastor Jeff, I'm gonna give you last words.
I just think it was a great episode. We are so proud of you. We thank you again for coming on. We thank you for blessing us with all your wisdom. I was going to post a couple times because you hit some points. I was going to go ahead and say Cash App Carla J right there. She dropping that offering type wisdom. But thank you again.
Yes.
Let us know when that volume 2 of the book comes out. I know that's on the way. Amen.
When love is remembered, it's gonna be called When Love is Remembered.
Yeah, right.
Please give your husband our love. Thank you
Yes.
again. Before we close out, you want to do our last sponsor real quick?
Yes, from the Phillips Care family of businesses, we're so grateful for Phillips Care Training, who are the owners of High Street Fitness in Cortland, Ohio. That is owned and operated by Mr. Mike Phillips, a Warren, Ohio hero, and he will get you right. Listen, we know you made your New Year's resolutions, and we know you probably already broke it, but you can get back on the saddle. You can get it right before summertime. Call High Street Fitness. Call Phillips Care Training. Look them up on Facebook. Call my man Mike Phillips. Tell him Religiously Incorrect sent you. He'll make sure he put you through the grinder and get you right and get you ready for that beach body. So thank you again to all of our sponsors. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube page, Religiously Incorrect Podcast. If you listen on audio, we are everywhere you can find audio podcasts, including the new Facebook podcast feature. Facebook now has a podcast feature, and all of our episodes are usually uploaded within 24 hours of our broadcast. We are so grateful, Pastor Carla, for you being with us. We wish you much success and blessings. And to
Thank you.
everybody watching, be sure to like and share this page. We're out. I got to watch the fourth quarter of this football game. Y'all take care. Stay on, Carla.
Peace,
Thank
y'all.
you.